This clip is brought to you by VegasWinners.com. Get expert sports betting advice from some of the best handicappers in the world. Head on over to VegasWinners.com and win yourself some money.
So Meltzer would continue. Jim Ross ended up as the scapegoat for the Razor Diesel angle, something that had been clear from the bad reaction to the angle from the second week. After a brief glimpse the night before on pay-per-view where Rick Bogner and Glenn Jacobs dressed as Razor Ramon and Diesel attacked Savio Vega, the television show was built around teasing their appearance later in the show. It made the WWF come across that much more foolish since Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were shown early on during Nitro, also live, and well before the WWF unveiled its new men that had quote unquote taken over Nitro and were making a joke about accepting no imitations. WCW had its own inside joke during that show, introducing Michael Jones, formerly Virgil in the WWF, as the new chief of security for the NWO, and they named him Vince. Finally, Ross came into the ring to deliver the goods. Let's take a time out there. How quickly did you want to abort mission with this whole fake Razor and Diesel thing?
I didn't. I wanted to go through with it. Again, it was to prove a point and prove a business point in owning an IP and to be able to continue to use that IP any way that you can. Was it a success? No. It was a drizzle of shits. It was horrible. Do I wish I could take it back now? Yes. At the time? No. At the time, let's go through with this because you needed to go through with it to be able to give an example of the intellectual property and why it belonged to us and how WCW was using that intellectual property. You can even see it in their run sheets that were in Discovery, them referring to them as Razor and Diesel. So yes, they were trying to confuse the audience, and they were themselves addressing them not as Hall and Nash, but as Razor and Diesel on their own run sheets.
What'd you think of Virgil showing up as Vince?
How'd that work out for him?
Well, he was there and collected the check for a long time.
There you go. So good for him. And they're still doing that NWO angle with Virgil on the WCW show now.
You're right. I mean, in hindsight, I think if they hadn't named him Vince, the NWO would have still been going, right? I mean, that's really the reason WCW went under.
Exactly.
Is they named Mike Jones Vince, and that was their critical error in the whole thing.
Everybody knew he was Virgil because they couldn't name him Virgil because we own the IP. Because then we would have brought out another goddamn Virgil. I'll tell you that right now.
Meltzer says, instead, it was a tremendous one-man performance. Yet another worked shoot angle. Ross turned on the WWF, saying that he left a good job in Atlanta, was also an announcer for the Atlanta Falcons, and brought in to be the lead play-by-play man for the WWF. He said,
yeah, but he called us.
I don't know what you're talking about right now. We're talking about we're talking about an angle where he turned heel. Do you remember this?
Bastard. Trash and fry.
When you get finished with your lunch, we can have a conversation about it, but
I'm done. It wasn't lunch. It was homemade cookies. My daughter brought
we've reached Ric Flair
when they're warm, damn it.
We've reached Ric Flair show levels here where you're just eating right into the mic.
It wasn't picked up in the thing. You just saw me.
No. I heard your lip smacking. I don't even have my video up.
I'm not even eating now and you hear them smacking.
Yeah, because you're trying to clean the chocolate chips out of your fucking teeth.
So?
So Jim's first appearance was at WrestleMania 11. He's talking about that, or WrestleMania 9 rather. You guys are dressing him in a toga, and he's saying he left a career broadcasting the NFL to wear a toga. And he says if you listen to his call of King of the Ring that year, he thought it was a level above what anyone else in wrestling was capable of. And he said that he was, the best play-by-play announcer in the business, which got a big babyface pop. And then he says he's taken off TV because of the egotistical owner of the WWF. And he got some cheers and then some boos. And then he talks about getting Bell's palsy and then being fired 2 weeks later and saying he had to tell his new wife and 2 little girls that their dad had been fired. that he had to live in Connecticut, which he called an overpriced hellhole, etc., etc., etc. So he's running down he's the airing of grievances, as a great man once said. And I love the JR heel angle here for a moment, but boy, putting him with Razor and Diesel, less than awesome. How do you think Jim did in his heel turn promo?
I enjoyed Jim's promo. I thought it was good. And you know, I mean, again, it was something that was different, and to give Jim an opportunity to get out as a performer outside of the play-by-play thing and have some fun with this thing. He always wanted to work. He always wanted to do that anyway. Here was his opportunity.
It's a big Raw because there's a lot of monumental stuff. You're going to introduce Razor and Diesel, and yeah.
Well, we did. It was great.
You got your ass beat in the ratings. Do you remember this being like the most desperate feeling at your run so far in WWF as far as competition goes? I mean, it feels like for a long time, WCW was so far behind you, you couldn't even see them in your rearview mirror. And now here, you're grasping at straws, you're pulling out all the big stops, you're trying to get creative and think outside of the box and all that sort of cliche shit. And the ratings come in and damn it, they beat us again every week. Is this defeating
for 83 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it happened more often than that, but it happened 83 weeks in a row where you couldn't get your head above water.
And then it happened 20 years before that, 20 years after that.
I'm not arguing any of that. God damn. Yeah. I feel like
but no, I mean, it's like, oh my God, you guys, lost for a couple years. Okay. And then we came back.
No, you hadn't lost for a couple years at this point. I'm asking at this point, all of a sudden you find yourself in the defensive position. And even when you're throwing everything against the wall, nothing's helping. Do you think this leads to some sort of desperate feelings on your behalf or Vince's? Is anybody feeling like, God damn, what's it going to take to get this thing going?
Defensive is just the wrong terminology.
What is the right word?
It's business. I think every time that you look at it, your business is up, your business is down. And it feels like every day you're fighting to do better. You're fighting to do more, no matter what it is that you're doing. So it wasn't, desperation. Without a doubt, you're looking at that, you're feeling that because it's your livelihood and it's your life. It's not a 9-to-5 job. It's, you don't go in and punch a clock and worrying about everything else. What we're doing was our livelihood. And by that, I mean, not just a paycheck. It was our life. It's what we did. We lived every minute of our day, every second of our life for this business. So you're making decisions that affect that in every single way. Defensive, I don't know. I think some people may look at it like that. To me, it was another day and it was another fight. Even when you are on top, you are continually fighting to be better, no matter what you do.
Chat me up about the heel JR thing. What was the creative for this going to be? Like, had it gone well, what would it have become? Would it have led to a stable of him handling disgruntled wrestlers against the WWF? Or if it would have really hit, did you have like a grandiose plan for what it could have been?
I think if it would have hit, we would have gone with it. We would have continued to program those guys in bigger programs. At the time, it was a opportunity to let everyone know who owned the IP, and it was an experiment. Okay, let's see if this works. And it was a legal situation where you're looking at it going, okay, well, this proves our point, and we own the IP, we own the character, so no different than television shows and movies. How many James Bonds have there been?
Right.
They're all James Bond, but this wasn't Sean Connery playing James Bond. This was Robert Moore. So it's, I think it's a preference, and it's just it's business.
So Taz jumps the rail during the Owen Hart Davey Boy versus Body Donna's match, which is really the last time we get to see the Body Donnas. You sad to see your old brother Tom leave the main roster like this?
No, because he wasn't happy. So, for him, I think that was probably a good thing. Tom was not happy during that time with Skip and everything, and it just wasn't a fun time for him.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe this is real, but we not only got a handicapper, but we got the best ever. How are you so good at handicapping these games? I mean, 4-0, that's quite a streak already.
Well, let's talk about every pick I've given this year in the NFL as an example. 23-8. Every pick I've given this year. 4 weeks in the bag, 23-8. There's nobody in the country that can match what I do, but I always make sure, because anybody, Conrad, could make up anything. They could tell you and blow smoke and tell you, oh, I'm the greatest. But I am independently monitored and documented, so nobody could ever question what I say and go, I don't believe it. I send every pick to an independent monitoring and documentation service that has to get the pick before the game goes off and then publishes it after the game goes off so anybody can see what I gave. But this is the best start I've ever had. I've never been this good to start a season. You don't win every week, 4 weeks in a row, everything you put out. It's been the kind of year I've had. So get on a hot streak, because when a guy's on a hot streak like me, you want to ride it. I've always had a talent for picking winners. Never quite as hot as I am right now, but I've always been very good at it. And I think it's because I do more homework than anybody else. The average guy or gal watching this podcast, they don't have time. They have a career. They have jobs. They might read the newspaper or go online and see something, but they don't have time 80 hours a week to study the games. That's what I do. And I have a crew of guys behind me, my consultants, who every week we get together 3 times a week and they throw their ideas at me. I throw my ideas at them. And then I pick the final 5 plays on Saturday and Sunday in college and pro football. So, I've got a great team behind me too, but we're all doing together hundreds of hours of homework. So you don't have to. It's all at vegaswinners.com.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to vegaswinners.com right now. Let's win some money. Let's jump back to it. Meltzer would write, the Ross McMahon storyline continued in the first 2 matches. Ross came out to a big pop as the pay-per-view show began with McMahon and Lawler at the announcing table. However, they did a gimmick where Ross's headset and mic continued to malfunction. Ross continued to blame it on a practical joke by McMahon, while McMahon claimed that Ross was the technical advisor on the show. The two did their storyline with McMahon coming off strongly as the face and Ross playing a stronger heel role than in the past, trying to get his character more into the old fuddy-duddy Oklahoma hick role as they made his references to Will Rogers and being taken to the woodshed, and Ross complained about Sonny not wearing enough clothes. After the second match, Ross stormed off complaining about the headset and mic, got in the ring and did an interview taking credit for bringing Bret Hart back and left. He was seen twice more during the show, once talking to Mr. Perfect, who acted as if he and Ross were friends as he appeared to be reverting to a heel role in some ways during the Mark Miro Goldust match that he ended up getting involved in. The other time, he basically took over a Doc Hendricks interview with Sid and tried to do what appeared to be a Howard Cosell gimmick, making fun of the softball questions Hendrick was going to ask Sid. This is fun stuff. What do you remember about this? The stomping off and the headset and the taking over the Sid interview. I feel like JR was having a blast with this.
I think JR was having a blast. First of all, I think it was Jim being Jim. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think that was Jim being able to express probably the things that Jim was feeling deep down inside at night that just don't talk about at parties. It was his way to subtly get and to, that's fresh. Yeah. Real funny. Ha ha. Somebody write that for you. That kind of shit that he was feeling inside. And again, Jim is a natural heel. And I mean that in the best of ways, folks. I'm a natural heel. I love it. Jim loves it.
Do you remember who came up with the idea of fucking around with the equipment? Because that's genius.
Oh God, I think that was just something probably, I have no idea who specifically, but that was probably different shit that we could do to him. Yes.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.